All right, y'all. So it's just been breaking news. It just broke that Ime Udoka is out as the Boston Celtics just named Joe Mazzula their permanent head coach for the foreseeable future. We're going to talk about it plus more right after this.
Thank you for tuning in to the number one place for your basketball fix, NBA Central, hosted by the Cognac Boys.
All right, NBA fans, thanks for joining me today on another episode of NBA Central. If you like what you're listening to, ensure that you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, yes, y'all heard it. Ime Udoka is now officially on his way out of the Boston Celtics organization, and Joe Mazzula has been granted the permanent head coach position for the franchise. Now, look, kudos to Joe Mazzula. A lot of people, including myself, had the questions of wondering what Joe Mazzula will do and what will he look like at the helm as interim while Ime Udoka was suspended for the entire season because of some personal things that we all know what happened. But that ain't my place. I don't really care about it. That's his business. But at the end of the day, Joe Mazzula is now the head coach for the Boston Celtics. Now look at Joe Mazzula. I had my questions, I'll be honest. But now those questions have been answered. You still have a few questions here and there about what he can do in the playoffs and things of that nature. But what he's done so far, you can't bat an eye on. The Boston Celtics, they host a 44-17 record in his first season as the interim now head coach. When you look at the way that the team is playing, they're still playing hard. They're still defensive oriented, and the rotations have been great. The play calling has been great, and you can tell that this guy has been very intellectual when it comes to ensuring that he puts a good product on the floor each and every night. Being the number one seed after what went on this past offseason, you got to give him his kudos. You got to give him his kudos. And on the night, just a few nights ago, he sat down his stars. No Jaylen Brown, no Jason Tatum. And the Boston Celtics still came out there and played their tail off to compete against the Milwaukee Bucks in what was it was an exciting game. But to see these young guys without your stars go ahead and compete and force an overtime, and you can see that these guys are playing together. They playing with heart. They playing with great defense. They playing with great intensity to go ahead and push a team in the Milwaukee Bucks that had all their pieces there, you know what I'm saying, and push them, into overtime and still compete all the way into the very end. That was another positive that we have to give Joe Mazzula when it comes to the head coaching job that he's done so far. Now, there is some questions I did mention. What will he be like in the playoffs? That's still to be determined, but you still got to give him his kudos because a lot of us, including myself, expected there will be some drop-off, but clearly with the talent on the team and the moves made by the front office, there has not been any drop-off, and hey, shout out to him. Now we dive into Ime Udoka just a little bit. Ime Udoka will be on the market, and that's a good thing for, a lot of teams that may be looking for a head coach in the future. But it will be tough. I got to keep it honest. But in Ime Udoka's time with the Boston Celtics, he was able to push those guys into a finals appearance, which they desperately needed, in the last few years. Because they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals before, with Brad Stevens and things like that. But they were never really able to, get over that hump to get to the finals. Ime got them there. They did lose, but he got them there. And there was speculation that he could potentially get them there this year and potentially win it. That was the expectations, but all the stuff that went on during the offseason is and when he was sat down, we was just like, dang, we ain't gonna see that. But these guys have been put in great position to go ahead and try to vie for capturing a championship as the young core of the Boston Celtics, along with Joe Mazzula. But Ime Udoka, his off the court stuff, is simply that, y'all. We all got to mind our business. It's not the first time something like this happened, you know what I'm saying, within the NBA, and it's damn sure not going to be the last. It's something that goes on in just about every workplace, you know what I mean? And when there's co-workers messing with each other, whether that's a dude with a girl with a dude, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It happens. You know what I'm saying? And some of it is frowned upon depending on your relationship status, rightfully so. Whatever you don't condone, you don't condone. And whatever you do is simply your business. They aired them out all through the media, you know, and it was just something that was unprecedented before, as before. So it's just simply that. But the question is, well, how much will this affect him in getting another head coaching job? How will this look in the eyes of other owners? Will they have their eyes out on him saying, hey, we can't let this guy, be the head coach or be in this organization because he might go ahead and do it again? It's just a tough situation if I'm being honest, because my thing is you don't want that kind of stuff in your business or whatever. But if we're being honest, it's going to happen. It has happened, and it's not going to stop. That's the reality of it. It's not going to stop. I'm pretty sure some of y'all people, when y'all was working at McDonald's, you done slid on one of your cashiers that was a female or a guy, and y'all hooked up. That's frowned upon. I know this is a different type of situation because of the organization, the stature, the leadership position that he held. But the main principle is that it happened and it's going to continue to happen. But I hope that his mistake doesn't hinder him for receiving another opportunity, because everybody deserves a second chance. Everybody deserves to right their wrongs. And that's just what it really is. And then, something that has to be considered is, are there any teams that want his service right now? Are there any teams that want his service right now? Because if you're looking at some of the teams, that's in the NBA right now, a lot of the teams, they have head coaches that have been, pretty good within their respect, among their teams and things like that. But is there anywhere he can go? You know what I'm saying? Because if we're looking at teams that just got head coaches, the Los Angeles Lakers just got Darvin Ham. Portland Trailblazers, they still going through their thing with Chauncey Billups. Do you look at the Houston Rockets and say, hey, this guy here, he ain't working, so let's see if we can get somebody in who has shown he can develop talent and then put a good product on the court? But then you got to also consider that there's a lack of talent. You know what I mean? But then these guys in Houston, they are viewed as being as immature. Do you bring Ime in to say, hey, go ahead and let's establish a culture. Let's get these guys to be a little bit more mature or something like that? Or do you look at teams like the Atlanta Hawks? Because there's, some speculation that Nate McMillan and Trae Young, they're not working out. So do the Atlanta Hawks part ways with him? Or do you look at teams like the Chicago Bulls, who's underachieving right now, having a rough time, with their coach? Do they part ways with their coach at the end of the season, even though they just gave him, an extension? So it's all speculation right now, but at the end of the day, I still feel like this guy deserves another chance. You know what I mean? Because that's just what it is. But it's going to be is he going to immediately go in to being the head coach, or will he have to sit as an assistant for a few years just to kind of work himself back up into good favor amongst the league, or just wait for more opportunities to open up? So that's just a lot of questions that's going to have to be placed out there for Ime at this particular moment, because he was in a great situation. And definitely I could have seen him be there for years to come, but eventually it didn't last that long, and it sucks. And then, it is what it is. He did what he did. It's done. Hopefully he can go ahead and get himself back into position to where he can go ahead and help lead a team to where they need to be, because I believe he's a great coach. I believe he has all the intangibles, all the the things that are necessary, the X's and O's and all that stuff, to lead men into being coached well. And you've seen it as far as player development as well. You know what I'm saying? Because, in just the last example before I go, one of the things that I really credit him on was establishing his system and ensuring that his stars and his players on his team execute and go with that system. In Boston, they struggled early on of last year, and then they finally bought in and that led to a finals appearance. So if he can go and do that for another team, whatever team that may be, you never know what can come out of that. You might get some Eastern Conference Finals appearances. You might get some Western Conference Finals appearances, depending on where you go. And you might eventually get a chance to fight for a championship in the finals. So you never really know. But hey, that's it for me, y'all. Just let me know about the whole thing. Like the channel, subscribe to it, and just go ahead and comment below on how you feeling about it all. Do you feel like Ime has an opportunity to go somewhere else as a head coach, or do you feel like he has to go ahead and insert himself and sit on the bench and be an assistant again for a year or two before he gets an opportunity, because he might have to wait for the market to open up a bit? So just go ahead, hit that in the comment box for me. If you want to follow me or any other contributors on this show, just hit us up collectively at NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And follow us on Twitter at NBA Central Pod. And if you want to leave us a text message or a voicemail just to discuss any topics, including this one, hit us up on the number 773-270-2799. This is another episode of NBA Central. I'm Bobby. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one.
Thank you for tuning in to the #1 place for your basketball fix, NBA Central, hosted by the Cognac Boys.